What is up, budget billers? My name is Trill, and today is the day, guys, or it's supposed to be the day, that the Democrats introduced the draft proposal of the social spending bill. This bill is asking for $3.5 trillion to provide support and stimulus aid to millions of Americans. Earlier this month, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi stated that she wants the House Democrats to work on the draft of this massive stimulus package and hopes to have it completed and presented by September the 15th, which is today. Do the Democrats have the bill ready to reveal it to the people in Washington, or will the Democrats need to stall a little bit longer? We also want to go ahead and talk about the tax maneuvers that the Democrats are trying to include in this stimulus package. It could be the biggest opportunity ever to force the rich and the wealthy Americans to pay the same thing as lower income people pay, which means they will be rolling back the Trump tax cuts from 2017. Also, we have some daily news updates that I want to share with you today as well. Now, those are just some of the topics that we are going to cover today. But if this is your first time to the channel, hey, welcome and glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, Bitcoin and crypto, and stimulus update news. So if you're interested in any of those, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. That way you can join our community. Also, if you end up liking the content in this video or even laughing at one of my jokes, then be sure to like this video. Other than that, guys, hey, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, guys, the fiscal year for the government is coming to an end at the end of this month. Now, one thing that we all can agree on is we don't or we can't afford another government shutdown. Not at a time like this, just too many things are happening around the world right now. Lawmakers are trying to come in unity to extend the debt ceiling, but considering the Democrats are in charge right now of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, Republicans have vowed to stand in opposition to raising the debt ceiling to borrow more money. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. The government continues to borrow money it can't afford to pay back. And some people need to make the tough decisions to do something about it. But right now, while we are still in the pandemic with COVID cases continuing to surge every day, this is not the time to flip the script and stop borrowing money. Mitchie Mitch, or Mitch McConnell, has already reiterated that the Democrats must raise the debt limit on their own. He said himself, or anyone in the Republican Party, will be helping in raising the debt limit.
If the Democrats put in a debt limit increase in the CR at the end of the month, would Republicans defeat that CR?
Yeah, let me be crystal clear about this. Republicans are united in opposition to raising the debt ceiling, not because it doesn't need to be done. So I want to make sure everybody clearly understands this. The last time the debt ceiling was raised, it was done on a bipartisan basis in conjunction with an overall caps agreement, and that debt ceiling increase covers basically what we did last year. This year is unique, and as you all know, I've been here a while. I've never seen such an effort to expand the reach of the federal government like we've been confronted with this year through not just one reconciliation process, but apparently yet another. So if they want to do all of this on a partisan basis, they have the ability and the responsibility to ensure that the federal government not default, and they will have to take care of that.
Now, in addition to that, Ted Cruz of Texas stated that he was set to filibuster any Democratic attempt to raise the debt limit. So it looks pretty clear that the politics is taking over regardless of how it affects the American people. We are going through a pandemic right now, and people are still left with no jobs. People still don't have enough food on the table. Some people even facing evictions right now. And now it seems like the Republicans want to make sure that we have a government shutdown. Now, if that happens, and depending on how long it goes on, that could prevent some Americans from receiving some of the benefits that they receive right now from the government. It could really turn into a disaster if that happens. So again, here we have lawmakers that are making millions of dollars every year, making the decisions that could hurt low-income individuals. And on top of that, what they are already dealing with. But Democrats have said that they would like to lift the debt ceiling for it to be a bipartisan exercise, considering much of the current debt was racked up under former President Trump. Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on Tuesday that neither party can wash its hands of the responsibility to pay the bills of this country. The Democrats need 60 votes in order to increase that debt limit, but the Republicans stand in opposition. Now, if the Democrats are unsuccessful in getting at least 10 Republicans to vote on the raise, the debt ceiling is expected to be breached sometime in October. Meanwhile, the Democrats continue to move forward with the social spending bill. The Democrats are still struggling with the social spending bill in getting enough support to make it all happen. Senator Joe Manchin continues to be a huge bottleneck in getting this legislation created and passed. Manchin continues to stand in opposition of this massive $3.5 trillion stimulus bill without knowing exactly what's going to be included in it. Manchin's biggest concerns with supporting this bill right now is he doesn't feel there is an urgency to do it right now versus later.
Let me ask you this though, this is long-term infrastructure. That in some ways, they call it human infrastructure.
Social reform.
I understand that. Social reforms, however you want to look at it, when people have different names. They take investment. This isn't short-term, and it wants to be paid for. And if it's paid for, there shouldn't be an inflation problem.
And the only thing I have said, there's not a rush to do that right now. We don't have an urgency. Don't you think we ought to debate a little bit more, talk about it, and see what we've got out there?
So you're not against this? You could support this $3.5 trillion plan.
I cannot support $3.5 trillion.
Okay, so that is all right, now we're getting to Brad. It is not a time issue. It really is a cost issue.
We got 5.4 out right now.
Okay.
That's a 3.5 they want to spend.
Over 8 or 10 years, depending on what.
3.5, but still, it's going to be based. It's going to be a lot more than 3.5 over 8 or 10 years because it'll continue. All those programs will never come off. They've only been scored out that far. But with that being said, that's a social reform. I'm just saying that we should be looking at everything, and we're not. And we don't have the need to rush into this and get it done within 1 week because there's some deadline we're meeting, or someone's going to fall through the cracks.
Joe Manchin wants to pause on the bill and see how things go from what we have already. He said we still haven't spent all of the money from the previous stimulus packages, which is around $5.4 trillion. That money is set to be spent this year as well as next year. So he wants to pause the brakes on the social spending bill and just take a step back and see where we are. Now, outside of all of that, we may see a glimpse of what is included in this bill sometime today, as today is September the 15th. And Nancy Pelosi previously stated that the House plans to have the draft of the stimulus bill ready for review sometime today. I have a feeling that they might not have it ready to reveal just yet, but hopefully we will see something later on today that gives us a clue as to what all is included in this $3.5 trillion bill and what the money is going to be used for. And if they do that, that's definitely going to be welcomed by Joe Manchin, as he is the number one in opposition to supporting this bill, in which the Democrats need him to come on board, as they will have enough votes in order to pass this bill. Now, over the past couple of days, the Democrats have been talking about how they plan to roll back the Trump tax cuts from 2017, which would in turn increase taxes on the wealthy. Majority of the money that they would be raising from the tax increases would pay for this massive $3.5 trillion price tag. Right now, the proposal calls for top corporate and individual tax rates of 26.5% and 39.6%. Now, that's what the Democrats would like to see, but I'm sure those rates won't stay the same when it's time for negotiations to start. The Ways and Means Committee released their tax summary the other day and stated that their proposal includes a 3% surcharge on individual income above $5 million and a capital gains tax of 25%. And like I said, the money from the tax increases would potentially pay for the entire $3.5 trillion price tag. But what happens after they pay for the stimulus bill off completely? Well, we don't know exactly how much they could raise with the new revenue after the social programs have already been paid off. But in all fairness, the tax proposals are very needed right now, especially when we're in a debt in this country and we need to raise or increase taxes in order to raise and additional income in order to pay for things like getting our roads fixed and putting more money into Social Security workers and just so much more. Now, surprisingly, Joe Manchin does believe that the 2017 tax codes, they do need to be adjusted. The Democrats want to raise it from 21% to 28%, but Joe Manchin thinks that that number is way too high. Manchin wants to see the tax cuts be raised to around 25% instead of 28%, which is just a little bit lower from what the Democrats want, which I think the Dems meeting Manchin in the middle on that number is actually feasible during the negotiation stages, which would come later on. Better yet, everything is negotiable at this time in order to get the right people to support this bill. So if Joe Manchin pulls his weight and won't support this bill unless it's $2 trillion, then the Democrats might be forced to lower that amount of the bill in order to get Joe Manchin's support. Last week, Manchin said he only supports between $1 trillion and $1.5 trillion for the stimulus bill, but he does not support $3.5 trillion. Now, hopefully later we will get some more information in regards to what's included in this bill. Now, I will try and return later on today with hopefully some good news regarding the draft of that bill. Hopefully Fancy Nancy can keep her promise on exactly what they have been working on over the past month. I will keep you guys posted on the new details that we receive. And real quick, guys, hey, Amazon is hiring even more people again this year. Amazon plans to hire 125,000 workers with an average starting pay of $18 per hour. This comes after constant pressure from the Biden administration and the American people. Amazon is looking to hire more drivers and warehouse workers, and they also need to fill 40,000 corporate and technology jobs. As Amazon continues to take over the world, they need more people to help them achieve that goal. They also announced that they will pay 100% of college tuition for more than 750,000 U.S. employees. So if you know someone, hey, share this information with them. And if you want to receive some of the benefits from Amazon, hey, I suggest that you go ahead and sign up for a Prime membership account. Right now, they're offering it for free for 30 days, where you can receive free movies, TV shows, unlimited music streaming, free shipping, and a selection of free books and magazines. Or if you already have the membership and you participate in any government assistance programs, you can get a discounted rate of just $5.99 per month. Those links will be down below in the description. But anyways, guys, hey, that's all I have for you today. This has been another fourth stimulus check update. If you enjoyed any of this information or found it to be useful, hey, be sure to hit the like button for us. It definitely helps out a lot, and it also tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so that you can be a part of this community, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, as always, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.